What's going on, Chicago Bears fans? It's your boy JP Football Fanatics back with you once again with another record prediction video. For this time, we are going over the last team from the NFC North, and that is for the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, you name it. There are so many different offensive explosion on this team in terms of weaponry, in terms of the running backs, and so on and so forth. And the ground game is improved. So this Bears team may be poised for, not so much of a breakout year, but maybe in terms of trying to get themselves up a peg or two, trying to get themselves, moving to the next step and being able to become that next team that's going to be, a team that's people wants to talk about, a team that people wants to get afraid of and everything like that. But where do you think the Bears line up this year? Do you think they're above, below 500? Do you think they're a playoff team, or are they a team that's going to be on the outside looking in? Or do you think this is a team that could somewhat improve this year? Maybe shock some people by surprise. Maybe not win a lot of games, but maybe shock a few people and probably compete in every game that they play. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Before I get started, please be sure to drop a like on this video if you have not done so already. Also, if you can please hit that subscribe button as well. That's going to be right below this video here. If you subscribe to JP Football Fanatics, and if you also hit the notification bell as well, you'll be the first person to know anytime when I post new content, whether it's pre-recorded or it's content that I am live on and I'm doing a live podcast. You will be the first one to be notified every time that time does come. So with that being said, please drop a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe, hit the notification bell, help this channel grow to be bigger and better than what it is already. Without a further ado, let us get started with the 2023-24 season for the Chicago Bears. And here's the schedule for the Bears. So a quick synopsis of where I think the Bears are going to land this year. So I think the Bears have done some really nice things in the offseason. I think their draft is pretty good for the most part. I think they did a pretty good job in the draft. Not great, but I think they did a good enough job to maybe tie themselves over for the next year or two, and then really step up when it really matters most. Now, the biggest questions as far as this goes is obviously coaching staff is definitely going to be a big one, but we also really need to question on whether or not is Justin Fields the guy. I think going out there and trading up for DJ Moore with Carolina is the biggest question mark of them all. How well is this going to pay off? Is this going to be a trade that was worthwhile? And is it something that is going to really get you guys to the next step and being able to become like that next, compete with like the big dogs? Not sure if they're going to compete with the big dogs anytime soon, but the biggest questions is mostly about Justin Fields' passing game. So let's get started with the game for week number 1, and you play in Green Bay. This game is at home. You guys play Green Bay. You always play them tough every single year. I believe you're going to split with the Packers this year. I think you're going to win the first game in week 1 because it's going to be Jordan Love's first official full-time starter game here. So I think you guys are going to win this one in week 1 in Chicago. I think that's tough for any young quarterback to play in. So I think you guys will win that game in week 1. And then I think you guys are going to lose in week 18 at the final week of the season, where the Packers get themselves kind of figured out a little bit. Jordan Love starts to play better and gets himself, make a name for himself there at the end of the season. The Bears, usually at home, I feel like play better. I think they take more advantage of that stadium that they do have, Soldier Stadium, simply because it's Chicago. It's windy there. It's the Windy City. Tough atmosphere, tough crowd. It's very loud playing there too. So, starting out the season 1-0 is something that will, that's a good momentum shifter. And then you go into week 2, and then you got to play the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm going to say you probably are going to lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Bucks are not a great team by any means, but at the same time, I think when you play in Tampa, it's going to be a different story. Baker Mayfield can take advantage of that defense for the Bears. That's definitely in the real rebuilding mode at this point in time. and they're kind of a young defense too, so they're not going to be like right up there with like where the defense used to be for the Bears. So I think Baker Mayfield can take advantage of that. Maybe he'll turn the ball over once or twice, maybe in this game, but I think with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, uh, you know, and this passing attack here with those two receivers still being at the helm, I think you guys are going to lose to that one in Tampa Bay. Then you got to go play the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. I think you guys are going to lose this one as well. The Chiefs, obviously, they're the returning Super Bowl champions. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. It doesn't get any better than that. So you guys will definitely lose that game. Week 4, you play the Denver Broncos. You play this game at home. I believe I have you guys actually winning this game. I believe, or I could potentially have you guys losing this game to Denver. I don't quite remember where I put you guys at, but I think you guys can probably beat the Broncos at home. Russell Wilson and company. Russell Wilson at this point in his career, it still can be a winning quarterback, but in recent days, at least the last couple of years, and especially last year, very inconsistent football play. Not really anywhere where he used to be at all. He's still mobile, which is very important, but at the same time, he doesn't really make like the big plays that he used to, and he doesn't really run as much as he used to as well. And when he does try to run outside of the pocket to make a play with his arm, it's not anywhere as good as it used to be. So I think the Bears take advantage of that. And I think if we get a Russell Wilson that's inconsistent and can't get the passing game going, I can see the Bears winning this game. If they can get something going and they get the run game going with Javonte Williams, Russell Wilson getting outside of the pocket, making some plays on his feet, the Broncos will win this game. But it's a tough game, tough environment. I think you guys win that one at home. Week 5, you play the Washington Commanders. I have you guys losing to the Commanders this year. The Commanders at home, Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett, this will be a game. It's a Thursday night game that's gonna really determine on where the Commanders are this season. So I think the Commanders overall are a better team. I think the biggest question really is on quarterback. So they're kind of similar to the Bears in that respect, but I would trust Ron Rivera right now over Matt Eberflus and Justin Fields. So I think the Commanders can win this game, and I think that defensive line can take advantage of a very, very weak offensive line for the Bears. Week number 6, you guys play the Vikings at home. I think I have you guys winning this game. So I think you guys are going to beat the Vikings at least once this year. I think you're going to win this game at home, and then I have you guys losing to them on the road on Monday Night Football in week 12. So I think you guys split with the Vikings this year. The Vikings are still a good team. They're still a team that's like going to be really good in terms of the passing attack, but this game really isn't all that exciting. Normally, when you think of the Vikings and the Bears games every year, it's usually a slugfest. It's anything spectacular to really watch. Kirk Cousins usually plays probably one of his worst football of the year when he does play against the Bears. So that's a big factor there. So I think you guys are going to split with the Vikings this year. I think you beat them at home and then you lose to them on the road. So that's what I think you guys will do. Week 7, you got to play the Las Vegas Raiders at home. I think you guys beat the Raiders at home. The Raiders normally don't do very well when they are on the road, especially if they have to go across the country. That's usually not their forte. So I think you guys have a big advantage there. And as well as the defense for the Raiders, I don't know if I really trust them in terms of when it comes to the run game and Justin Fields' ability to run around, scramble, make some plays on his feet, and probably running a couple of touchdowns here too. So I think Fields can help that game. He probably could get the passing game going here, especially also getting that grounding game going too. Week 8, you play the Chargers in Los Angeles. I have you guys losing to the Chargers. I think the Chargers are too well-rounded. I think their receiving core is going to be too much to handle, especially if they are healthy. Austin Eckler is going to run all over you guys. I think that's way too much there to ask. Defensively, you can probably get the run game going. I feel like if Brandon Staley does not improve that run defense this year, you can probably kiss Brandon Staley goodbye here. This could be his last season with the Chargers if they can't stop the run, which I don't think they're going to. They'll have some success, but if Justin Fields passes in this game, that's going to mean that he probably will be prone to turn over the football a couple of times because the pass rush is good for the Chargers and their secondary plays really good coverage. So I think that's where the Chargers are at best here on defense. But as far as running the ball goes, I think if you're the Bears and you want to win this game on the road across the country, you're going to have to run the ball. Week number 9, you play the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans, Superdome game. I have you guys losing to the Saints. I think the Saints defense is solid. They're at least a top 15, maybe top 20 defense this year. They're not a great defense, but they're a legit defense that's going to put up some points. Well, not put up points, but they're going to put up some stat numbers here, especially in this game. And I think that defensive line, maybe they're a little bit older for the Saints. The defensive line might be a little bit older, but I think they can take advantage of the Chicago Bears offensive line, which is a big mismatch there, and as well as the secondary as well too. And Marshawn Lattimore could have a phenomenal game here. Week 10, you play the Carolina Panthers on Thursday Night Football. This is going to be the battle between the trade-off here with DJ Moore. This will be a DJ Moore revenge game here. I don't think a lot of people really talk about the receivers as much as they really should, but the Panthers traded away DJ Moore for the number 1 overall pick with Chicago. This game could go really either way. Again, Bryce Young playing in a really tough environment in Chicago. That can really be really hard for a young quarterback, any young quarterback to play in. I mean, ask like the previous quarterbacks that have played in the NFC North, and young quarterbacks that played there last year, like Trey Lance that played there last year, did not play very good in that atmosphere. So I think the Panthers are better overall, but maybe DJ Moore could honestly get that revenge and maybe do something with the Bears, maybe help out Justin Fields. That maybe that's something that Justin Fields will showcase and show why that DJ Moore deserves to be in Chicago. So I think you guys are going to probably win this game. I think you can win this game on Thursday night. I think the biggest advantage here that you have is that you win this game because you're at home and not in Carolina. So if Frank Reich wants to beat the Bears with his young quarterback and his a mix of young and veteran leadership, this will be a good game. So I think that I have the Bears winning this one on Thursday night in week 10. Then I have you guys losing to the Lions at least twice for both times this year. The Lions run game is very hard to stop. I don't think the Bears are equipped to doing that. And I think as far as the secondary as well, I think that's going to be very, very hard for the Bears to be able to slow down as well. So I have you guys actually being swept by the Lions this year. I think the coaching staff is not elite, but I think they have themselves in the right direction. I think they're going to get themselves gathered together. They'll come up with a good game plan to make sure that they don't lose to the Bears at any point this season. So I will take the Lions to win both matchups. Next, you got week 15. You play the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. I think you guys lose to that game in Cleveland. I think the Browns are poised for a good year this year with Deshaun Watson now, out of his suspension, and he's going to be playing the full season. I think the Browns passing attack is pretty quietly underrated. I think they're going to be very sneakily good this year. In terms of their passing attack, I think Deshaun Watson will get better this year. I think he's going to build a better rapport with his receivers. I think he'll build a better rapport with his running backs. The offensive line is solid too, which I think is going to be a disadvantage for the young defensive line for the Bears. And then the offensive line for the Bears too is not very good. They probably can get some success in terms of running the ball with the Bears. They may be able to do that, but it's not going to be enough. And I think the Browns defense has improved since they got Smith from the Vikings. Zadarius Smith. So I think that's going to be like a big, mismatch there for the Bears. So I think the Browns are going to win that game in Cleveland. Then you guys got to go back to home and you play the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are the worst team in the NFL. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I would hope and I would think that the Bears can take advantage of that at home and win this game against the worst team in the NFL. But who knows? That could definitely, change at any point. But right now I have the Bears. I have you guys winning that game at home. Then you play the Atlanta Falcons at home. I think you guys lose to the Falcons this year. I think the Falcons are going to compete. I think they're going to compete with their division. I think they're going to win some games where you don't expect them to win. Even with or without Desmond Ritter, I think they're still going to be, winning some games with the run game. And I think that's Arthur Smith's mentality. If he can run the ball, like, have like each of his running backs have like 30 carries each game, they probably can still win some of these games, and they can take advantage of that. I know the game's in Chicago. I understand that. But I still think you guys don't really match up that greatly with. I mean, you match up well with the Falcons, I guess, in some ways, but you have to remember too, the secondary for the Falcons is pretty good. I mean, AJ Terrell is going to be there. Calais Campbell on that defensive line too is also going to be a big help too. So this Falcons defense is going to be better than it has been in a long time. It's going to be at least a top 20 to 25 defense, maybe a top 20 defense, honestly, because of all the veteran leadership that they have. And I think that's a big mismatch there for the Bears. So I think you guys lose to Atlanta. So I have you guys currently at a 6-11 record. So I think you guys improve from last season. I think you win a couple more games than you did last year. You're probably still going to have a high draft pick. You're probably going to be at least in the top 5 or top 6 going into next season. I guess I don't have you guys winning any away games, but I feel like you would be able to win at least one away game. But who knows? Maybe you guys beat the Lions on the road, or maybe you beat them at home, and maybe you beat the Packers again at home. Who knows? On the road, who knows? But right now, I have you guys being at 6-11. I might, as the season goes on, I might make some changes in terms of like where the Bears are going to be at this year. But I feel like a lot of the times, I feel like the Bears are right there with a lot of different teams. I feel like they can improve. I think they are going to improve this year, but I don't think it's enough to obviously win the division. I don't think it's enough to make the playoffs. Let me know in the comments down below where you think the Bears are going to be this year. It's your boy JP Football Fanatics telling you one last time to please drop a like on this video if you have not done so already, and also hit the subscribe button as well and hit the notification bell. And anytime that I post new content, whether it's pre-recorded or it's live, you guys are going to be the first ones to know about it. And I want you guys to be the first ones to know about it. And I want you to tune in to every single time. I want to have conversations about football with you guys. I care about the sport, care about you guys. And I want to help this channel grow to be bigger and better than what it is already. I want to get my opinions out there for everybody to try to follow and just hear me out a little bit. So, do me the favor, do all those things. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And with that being said, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all next time. Peace.